The Iridium nightclub in Manhattan, New York City is the venue which was home to one of the most remarkable characters in music history.
Here's the man that changed the music for all of us, the great one himself, Mr. Les Paul.
Many a rock star could be found among the audience packed in here to see Les Paul perform until just a few months before his death. He was 94 when he died in August 2009.
When he passed away, I had 845 calls on my cell phone alone. And that's not counting the internet, that's not counting our office in New York, that's not counting the telephone in New York, that's just my cell phone. And these are people like Slash, Billy Gibbons, Cole Rich Sambora, Tony Bennett. Steve Miller was on the road, he said, I'll be there tomorrow. All these guys were very close to Pop. And they all said the same thing. And we lost somebody special.
Les Paul was considered one of the finest guitarists of his generation, developing his techniques from jazz to pop in the years after World War II. He married the singer Mary Ford, and they recorded their own radio show, performing their hits such as How High the Moon. But as well as being a renowned musician, he was one of those rare people who could excel in both art and science.
Les was a consummate inventor, and he was using effects and amplification and sound-on-sound tape, and really was the person that invented effects in guitars.
Les Paul's music and recording techniques made a big impression across the Atlantic in Liverpool in the early 1960s, where four lads with mop-head haircuts were creating what would become the most iconic band in music history.
Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you.
Almost half a century after those early Beatles days, Paul McCartney is in the middle of a hectic international tour, playing 3 hours a night to packed houses. But he was happy to make time in Toronto to talk to Icon about a man whose influence he treasures.
When we got into the studio, we wanted to experiment. And I'm sure at the back of our minds, there was the idea that Les was the great innovator, the great experimenter. He'd opened the doors to that. I think without him, we wouldn't have known that there was such a thing as speeding up. So on early Beatle records, we did a lot of that. We had a solo, Hard Day's Night solo, which was very hard to play. So George Martin sort of said, well, we could. We said, okay, and when he played it, sped up. So we used a lot of those techniques, and I think it's probably Les's influence that made us even think of that.
Les Paul's influence continued well beyond the Beatles and touched a new generation of guitar gods, including Slash, the Axeman of Guns N' Roses, successful solo artist and poster boy for Guitar Hero. Icon found him preparing to entertain audiences in Tokyo.
A lot of the techniques that we used prominently on record, on records in rock and roll especially, throughout the 70s and the 80s, and now that digital has become such a major force in recording, we try to emulate those techniques digitally, so basically the sound is the same, although we're not using tape to do it, but still the idea originated with Les Paul.
But for all his inventiveness, Les Paul's most visual legacy is the electric guitar which takes his name. Frustrated by his acoustic guitar's lack of volume, he set about creating sound from a solid-body electric guitar. His first and most basic attempt was known as the Log, a far cry from the classic design which resulted from his collaboration with the Gibson Guitar Company.
The electric guitar, when I was done with it, was to be shaped like a woman. Was to be shaped like someone you wish to hold that you loved, something that you couldn't wait to go home and put it in your lap and play it, that would respond with beautiful, beautiful sounds. And then I could take that thing and go to a nightclub and get with a great big orchestra and be a superpower.
The Les Paul in particular, you know, some people go, well, it's shaped sort of like a woman, you know, it's got the round top and the even bigger bottom and all that kind of, and that may be true or not. I'm not really sure, but something aesthetically about that guitar just pleases me in a lot of different ways.
It's just beautiful to play. It's a classic, and one of the ones I have is 50 years old. So it's a sort of great antique as well as it being a classic. It plays great, and I think that's due to Les's expertise. And so you grow to love it because it's just a beautiful guitar.
I was privileged. It was almost like a gift for the possibility to do the right thing at the right time, to put something together that worked, whether it's the multi-track recording, to make Sinatra sound better, or the Beatles, or whether it was something like the guitar that he no longer was a wimp, but he was a big first-class heavyweight fighter.
If you want to see more from Paul McCartney / Billy Gibbons and others, visit our website, cnn.com/icon. Almost 100,000 of you voted in our online poll to pick your favorite musical icon. See the result and share your views.